Aloha and welcome to the Shakti Unleashed podcast. I am so excited for today's episode and welcoming on my dear soul sister, Fern Olivia, who is going to just share so much of her magic, this beautiful godsend, cosmic angel from heaven to earth who's just here to just share so much of her magic, her gifts around, you know, voice, kirtan, vocal activations, and even with your whole thyroid yoga, which I know we're going to get really deep into, and your sound healing, and just you being you is the medicine. And there's just so much to you. So I can't wait to dive in, sister.
Thank you so much, love. I am so happy to be here. We've been talking about this for months. And yes, I'm just so happy to be here to share my medicine with the world and inspire listeners to really live in their fullest and feel really embodied in their voice, in their presence, in their sensuality, in their highest alignment. So I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, so excited to dive in. So I know that most recently you're having this whole new brand new rebrand English
Libra.
rebrand rebirth of your thyroid yoga. Can you share with us? Just yes, share with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's such a fun story because back in 2013, I created something called Thyroid Yoga. When I was living in New York City, I was working on Wall Street, I had this complete meltdown, breakdown, fainted in the subway, really didn't know what was going on with my health, combination of birth control and then an autoimmune thyroid condition. My body was completely confused and I wasn't in alignment with my soul. So I created something called Thyroid Yoga. And then for the past 10 years, I was the stewardess of this brand and celebrated with teacher trainings all around the world. I gave retreats and online workshops and sessions, and it became such a deep part of my life and my purpose. And then last year, I decided, you know what, I want to full on be a musician. Sound journeys, kirtans, singing mantras, medicine songs, ceremonies. Thyroid yoga began, I felt completely healed. So thyroid yoga began to kind of slip away. I was like, well, now this is what that was a chapter, and now this is my new chapter. And then recently I was traveling in Europe. My symptoms started to come up again. I was having flare ups of inflammation. I could feel my body. It was just not completely in alignment. I didn't feel radiant. And I started doing the practices that I created with thyroid yoga. I was like, well, I know what to do. I'm my own medicine woman. I can heal myself. I knew I have nodules in my thyroid and I have inflammation with a condition called Hashimoto's. And it's such a scary place to be when you don't have those tools. But that's why I created thyroid yoga, to give women the tools to heal. And I was like, well, the universe is reminding me that I can do this and I'm powerful. So I had to literally had to reclaim the power back. My sisters, I would have calls with girlfriends and sisters and coaches, and they were like, you're not in your power. You have to reclaim it back. And I was like, I don't remember what that felt like. So in order to remember what that felt like, I had to visit all those practices that I used to do. I remember contacting you actually, Steph, for access to a course because I was like, I need to embody my priestess, my full on power as a woman and in relationship. And through these practices and then through my own, I was able to find myself again, because that's the thing, we're constantly given these tests in life to remember. So now to go back to a week ago where I was making love with my partner. I will share that in the podcast. I don't share that in all the other places, but I usually just say I was meditating, but but meditating, making love, you know. And so we were in bed and God came. God was like, hello. And I felt God energy through us, with us. And I just had this moment where I was like, use me, God, like put me to work in service for creation, for energy, for life, for work, for purpose. And tears just started to come through my eyes. And I was like, just use me, God. I'm here. Like, I want to show up more. And it was so interesting because the next day, I kid you not, the next day, the woman who I gave thyroid yoga to contacted me, because when I gave the brand up, I gave it to another woman and she was going to take on the brand. But then she just didn't really do anything with it. She's not me, bless her. She tried. But the whole thing with thyroid yoga was around my story and all these things I created. So she said, would you take it back? And if you had asked me 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I would have said, no, I'm a full-time musician learning to DJ now, and I'm really embodying this. I probably would have been like, no, let's find somebody else. No, I asked Spirit for the signs, and I said, I'm ready to serve and I want to show up and really want to be in my purpose. So I hope this inspires listeners, because it's really about surrendering what your ego thinks. I was like, musician, concerts, music, DJ events, shows, which also will be a part of what I do. So how do I bring it back to the true service I'm on earth to do, which clearly this is coming back into my life and my condition, right? Like feeling the symptoms and really saying, okay, if I can heal myself, I can share this with other women. This is happening. This is meant to happen. So
Wow. I am so in awe. Like, it's like I knew you had this thyroid yoga thing, but I didn't fully know the whole story behind it. That you even like I knew you worked in Wall Street. I didn't know you fainted on a subway.
yeah, it was dark,
Yeah.
crowded way, going to work, I was working in Times Square where the ball drops. It's like crazy chaos subway area, like not subways in New York. For anyone who's taken a subway in New York, you know that like you don't even want to sit down sometimes. But can you imagine fainting in the middle of all those people? It was just, and then I got ambulance to a hospital there, and I saw these people chained to their beds. Like it was just not, it was weird. It was, and screaming, and it was just something in my soul was like, get out. My soul was like, wake up and get out of this situation. So finally I did. I quit my job on Wall Street, and I started thyroid yoga and started teaching and learning integrative nutrition and functional medicine. And I really started to take these practices for myself. And then I immediately started coaching. I didn't stop. I was like, this is my mission. This is my purpose. I don't care if I'm not certified in all the modalities yet, because I was learning. I would learn and then I would give back. I would learn and then I would have clients. It would just come to me naturally the more and more I studied. So it's been about 14 years now since I started my yoga journey. That was about 2008, 2009. So around that time is when I started teaching. Before I even received certifications, I just started. And I've done all the certifications now, like 500 hours of certifications plus more, like prenatal, restorative, other things. I just kept learning. The more and more I learned, the more different types of clients would come to me, prenatal women with thyroid conditions or hormone imbalances. Then I'd get, I did lots of work with energy work and intuitive work, and then more sound therapy and that work too, and vocal. And then it's become now this culmination of all this knowledge that thyroid yoga has now. So there's many different facets that I can explore with all these lineages. It's really fun.
Wow. Okay, I am so curious. Two things. First, so you said like literally that moment on the subway, that was clearly your wake up call, and it sounds like you took immediate action. Like how soon did you quit your job and then start all this, you know? What was
Well,
that timeline?
yeah, it's interesting. It wasn't immediate. It sounds like it. It wasn't like, oh, tomorrow I quit my job. It was actually a while, because what happened during that time in between fainting on the subway and completely leaving Wall Street was that during the time I started teaching and guiding classes, coaching clients. I was a cleanse specialist as well. So I guided cleanses and helped women with their hormone through nutrition, as well as yoga and the other things I did. And I also taught corporate yoga classes for other companies outside my own. So it was funny because I was leading this double life. I was working on Wall Street, and then I would leave on my lunch break and go to yoga classes. I wore my sports bra and my leggings under my suits. So yeah, I completely went incognito and then brought my lunch back to my desk and would eat there. And so I lived this double life until I was making I was making over six figures on Wall Street. And so I had to kind of meet that place because I was living this New York lifestyle. So I worked myself up to doing a lot of high-end clients and corporate classes that I was able to almost meet my salary. Like I almost got there. And I got to a point where at least it was comfortable. living in New York City, I paid 3,000 a month, over 3,000 for this beautiful apartment with a roof deck. And so I used that to host dinner parties for visionaries in health and wellness and bring musicians, and then did these yoga classes. And, I created a really big wellness brand when I was in New York. And so I had enough coming in that safely I could say, I'm quitting my job on Wall Street and I'm not looking back. And I remember that day I was at a juicing summit in New York City with some of these brilliant minds in nutrition and wellness. And I was sitting there, I'm like literally sitting there with them because I was part of these organizations, and I was with Thyroid Yoga, which I had started during my time on Wall Street. I was actually friends with these leaders in holistic health and wellness. So I was sitting there next to them and I was like, this is their full-time job. Why do I still work on Wall Street? It's like, that doesn't align. I can't coach people on how to live their healthiest life if I'm sitting there in work with people who are drinking Diet Coke and, warming up food in the microwave and drinking coffee all day. I was like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't, sitting under fluorescent lights and looking at spreadsheets all day and then trying to balance myself with yoga was just like, I was like, no, 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 I've got to commit to this. It's my highest alignment. And there was some fear because, sometimes with yoga and wellness, it's the income is fluctuating from month to month. I would guide retreats, and I just really just knew, I was like, if I'm of service and helping people and I'm living in my highest alignment, that I will be supported. And that was 2014 when I left my job on Wall Street. And I just said, okay, universe. I did at that time even watch Oprah Super Soul Sunday, and she said at one moment, use me, God, use me. And so ever since then, that's been part of my prayer, So
Wow.
yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
so, so much. And just, wow, it's like, because I know you now,
Mhm.
so it's like like concrete jungle to jungle. Like,
You know me full on jungle woman. I mean,
yes.
the thing is, most people don't that know me in the jungle don't know that full story, because when I came to the jungle, I first went to Nosara before we knew each other in Santa Teresa. When I first came to Nosara, there's an article about me. I somehow want to get it down, but
Mm.
I wrote it because I came to the jungle and I said, I'm retiring as a wellness influencer. I literally was like, I want to strip my old identity. I know you had something similar to that too, about stripping away your old identity. And I literally was like, I'm retiring from being a wellness influencer in LA because I lived in LA after New York. And I said, I just want to be a jungle woman. I just want to be free in the jungle. I don't want to have to think about all these events and like showing up places and doing all this. I just want to be. I just want to be. And so there was a moment where I kind of, and still I'm reclaiming all that back, those things that were good about influencing people and inspiring people, right? Like, so that's why I told you when we stepped on the podcast, I was like, I haven't done this in so long. And I used to, because I kind of forgot that part of me that likes to express what I do in the world and inspire people. But I'm doing it from a different place now. There was a lot more spiritual ego, and that's a whole nother conversation. That before I lived in Costa Rica, I didn't even know what spiritual ego was. When I got to know Sarah, people were telling me little bits about it, and I finally started stripping away layers of myself, and I did forget things of myself, because instead of just balancing those parts of the ego, I would just say, oh, I don't want any of that part of me. I'm not a wellness
Mm.
influencer. I don't do any of that. So then back to that, a lot of people don't know exactly what I did and the impact that I want to make and continue to make, because there's been parts of myself I've been very shy about. So that's a lot of thyroid stuff about speaking your truth, expressing yourself. So now I'm like, oh, that's where the healing is. Okay, click.
Yes. 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 Wow. So speaking of, I want to actually perfect you circled back to thyroid because I actually wanted to ask you, girl, how did you even know what like I'm so curious, like how did you create the practice of thyroid yoga? Like, yes, it was to heal yourself, but I mean, how did you know what practices were the ones to bring the greatest healing and shifts? I'm so like, if you told me to do thyroid yoga, I don't even know where
Yeah.
to start. And I'm a yogi, like a
Yeah. You went to India. You're
Yeah,
like,
like the thyroid yoga, I'm like, What is that?" I barely even know my thyroid, if I'm honest. Like, I know it's something in the throat. Maybe we can even start there. Like, what is the functions of the thyroid? And
so the thyroid, and everyone has it, women and men. It's just more women have the diagnosis of a thyroid condition because as women, we're like, oh, gaining weight. Oh, I'm stuffy, I'm bloated, I'm congested, feeling inflammation, brain fog. A lot of times more women are about to go get those things checked. And so many more women are diagnosed with that. And also the sensitivity and the emotional and energetic connection of speaking your truth. More women are being called and called to be these like crusaders of with missions and healing lineages. And there's so much energetics to go around why we're all waking the thyroid up and why vocal activation is such like the rage. It's literally like yoga was a phase of timeline of like everyone studying to be yoga teachers. Now it's like vocal activation, which I love. And so anyway, the thyroid is one of the master glands in the body. We have the pineal gland, and then this thyroid is the control center of your body. So it's a gland and it produces hormones. And what happens is that when there's something going on in the body, it's usually something related to the microbiome. And that's the digestive system, that's your gut brain. And when something's out of balance there, for example, heavy metal toxicity, parasites, bacteria, overgrowth, fungus, then that is creating an imbalance in the body, and the thyroid is trying to create balance. The thyroid's like a seesaw or balance, and it's always trying to find balance, always trying to find your alignment. So when you're misaligned in your navel center and you're misaligned with your digestive system, your gut flora, then your thyroid's trying to cope. And in that case, your thyroid's trying to cope. And in that, your homeostasis, your balance of your body is off, meaning so many women, including myself, see weight gain as one of the first symptoms of knowing that my thyroid is imbalanced. Like one of the biggest things I hear with my clients is I work out, I'm running, I'm doing yoga, I'm eating clean, but the pounds just come on and it's like belly bloat. And that's a lot to do with the microbiome, and then also the thyroid, which maintains your metabolism, your digestion is just like not functioning optimally. So thyroid yoga strives to get your balance back in your digestive system by doing poses that actually target your adrenals, your liver, your intestines, what else? Yeah, colon. So there's sequences that I studied. So I have to give credit to two important practices of yoga, two lineages. I studied vinyasa originally, and I love that practice. I still love to flow. But what I realized, and I'm a science major, back in college, I studied biomedical engineering. So I'm really nerdy in some ways, and I love to know why the poses are working on the body. And they didn't really teach that in vinyasa. I learned a lot of Sanskrit. I love the practice. I love bhakti. I love mantras. Though there was something missing internally with that. So I started studying something called Katona Yoga in New York City. It's an amazing, amazing practice that blends in Chinese medicine and Taoism and poetry. Like it's such a poetic practice. And it weaves in that wisdom into the practice. So when you're doing something like this, that you are activating your thyroid and you're realizing in certain twists how you're moving the energy around your liver. And so in that, I studied extensively for 4 or 5 years of this practice in New York City. And I went to classes every day, and it was so deeply healing for my body. I started creating thyroid yoga during that time, weaving in my own poetry and magic, and really understanding how that was healing me. So I started studying that, and then Kundalini with breath work, Kundalini and pranayama. And I realized how that was affecting the body. So it was self-study and then merging all of these practices together, because what makes thyroid yoga unique, it's not just Kundalini yoga. It's not at all Kundalini yoga. I don't even use the Kriyas, like the textbook Kriyas. Some people really go into that. And I was like, for me, it's finding out bits and pieces and merging things together that are proven to work. I tried in my own body. I have lots of clients, and it's like seeing what works for them too. And then creating sequences and creating flows and creating a sequence for digestion, sequence for getting into your alignment, sequences for um, all sorts of things, digestion, metabolism, circulation. And I did this over years. So I created curriculums and all sorts of things. And now I have a new program for metabolism and navel center strength and weight loss, because one of the biggest things I see with women with thyroid conditions is this sometimes hopelessness. Will I ever be able to feel good in my body? And it's yes, when you plug into your navel center and you really consistently practice these practices with breath work, with movement, chanting mantra, it's so amazing. And that's again how you reclaim your power back. So that's a little bit about that. Could talk about
Girl,
forever.
I am so in awe because so we were literally neighbors
Yeah.
in 2020.
Yeah.
And I'd be over all the time, like at your pool, like co-working, whatever, and you're live doing,
Yeah.
online sessions of your thyroid yoga. And I never knew like just how like the I don't know, just hearing you speak about it now, the fucking crazy depth and impact of I just never understood, like I didn't know what it was, I guess. I knew it's thyroid yoga, but I was like, what's thyroid yoga? You know? And now hearing you speak about it, I'm like, holy wow. Of course God is calling you back forward and sharing this in a whole new way and a whole new rebrand.
Yeah, it's big. It's really exciting too, because I feel like, yeah, those classes on my when I did them out at the pool overlooking the ocean is so magical. And I remember I had these classes where it was called the Kundalini cleanse that I created. And I created it during the COVID time where people were stuck in their houses and they really wanted to feel better. And it included dancing as starting off the practice. And now I have this new opportunity to bring that back, do it in a new way. Now that I DJ also, so it's like creating something eventually that's going to weave in my DJing, weave in the breath work, weave in the movement, all into this really beautiful artistry. That the beautiful thing is that I know it works, and it's been working for the last years on, women have had the most amazing results getting off their medication, literally curing and reversing their condition. And even women with thyroid cancer have been able to get off medication, which is amazing because literally when you take medication from pharmaceutical, it's just mimicking what's happening in the thyroid. So if someone's had their thyroid removed, they kind of need medication to balance their hormones. However, if you learn how to do it naturally, then you can go off the medication. And many women have been able to do that, including myself. I got off medication when I came to Costa Rica in 2017. I just went cold turkey when I left LA. And that's the thing though, it's consistent practice. If you stop the practice while going off medication, you stop doing these things to naturally cleanse and take care of your body, then your thyroid might have the chance of then flaring up again. And that's what happened to me. So that's why this practice is literally my saving grace. And it's meant for me to keep carrying onward.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
I am just so in awe of this. Like,
Oh,
I'm just like, okay, this needs to just be spread far and wide to the masses of, because I don't know what the statistics are with people with thyroid. I feel like it just autoimmune just keeps growing.
and thyroid conditions, I think, so it's so cute. My partner never had gone to my website, my thyroid website, because I basically just ended that brand when we got in a relationship. And I was like, okay, I'm full on musician now. So he never really knew thyroid yoga side of me. And now he's super intrigued, just like you are, like, wow, this is amazing. This is your purpose, this is your work. I'm like, I know. And so he went to my website and he actually told me when we were eating smoothie bowls earlier, and he was like, wow, that's so, he's like, I watched your video. There's over 200 million people. And this is an older statistic, so I'm sure it's even more now, like 200 million people in the world with thyroid imbalance. So the statistic may be more now, but can you imagine? That's a lot of people. And that's even not even counting people that don't even diagnose, I'm like, how do they even track that? Because many people don't even know. And here's the crazy thing. that many people, and this makes my heart break, and this is why I know I need to continue this work, is that many people go into a doctor when they have these symptoms, right? Like brain fog, confusion, depression. These are symptoms of having a thyroid condition, right? Depression is a big one because it messes with your brain chemistry. Why? The digestive system, the gut, that is out of balance. So it's creating brain chemistry imbalance, affecting your thyroid. Doctors aren't checking the thyroid. They're just prescribing the antidepressant medication or the anti-anxiety medication for someone with hyperthyroid when they have like jitteriness and like intense energy. It's so crazy to me that they don't know a lot of the times. They're not educated in holistic. It's just like treating one thing. Now more doctors are starting to, but the brain scans of someone with depression and someone with a thyroid condition match. So someone could misdiagnose someone with depression and give them medication when they really need to treat the thyroid and then the microbiome, cleanse for parasites, bacteria. We've done parasite cleanses, like
We have.
how. Parasite, yeah, I know. So parasite cleanses heal your body on such a deep level, but while you're cleansing, the die-off symptoms, I'm getting really brainy here, but the die-off symptoms of parasites can feel really depressing and really foggy. And it lasts sometimes for weeks. And in those places, it's kind of like you feel like really stuck and sad. And I remember feeling like, when is this going to end? And I didn't even know I was there's sometimes in my life I didn't even know I was cleansing. It's just all of a sudden there's an overgrowth of that bacteria, and then you're just like fogged, like so fogged out. And it's so crazy to me that instead of encouraging the cleansing process to happen and really to nourish the body with good food and really nutrient dense, like delicious smoothies, juices, salads, things like that, that pills are given to say like, okay, you're depressed, take a pill. It's not take a pill. It's let's give you love. Like, let's give your body love. Let's move your body with love. Let's, go on a retreat and nourish yourself and nourish your soul and get in alignment. So mental health now is another big thing that I am starting to dive into, because I know that many people are misunderstood and they're not even heard or listened to around their symptoms. So yeah.
Right.
Work.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Like that last piece you said right there, they're not even like
Heard or listened.
heard. And then usually these people, like, because people are dismissing their symptoms, usually these people are like lacking like self-confidence in their own selves. They just be like, oh yeah, okay, it's not what I thought it is. The doctor said this, and I'm just gonna give my power away and follow what they say and take this pill forever.
Yeah. That's what's happening a lot of the times. I mean, that's what happened with me until I spoke up. I literally went into the
Yeah.
doctor's office and I was like, okay, so you're telling me I have Hashimoto's? Gluten reacts with the thyroid. It mimics the structure of the protein in gluten, mimics the structure of the thyroid gland, and the thyroid thinks it's an invader, attacks it, and weakens the thyroid. It weakens the thyroid more. And I told the doctor this, and he was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. And so literally I just became my own advocate, and I was like, I'm just not doing this anymore, this doctor thing. Western medicine has some pros, but there's
Yes.
also, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some learning and educating of our medical system that we have to reclaim our power back. And the thing I noticed, I would go to these doctor offices and they just didn't even listen to me some of the time. It was like, here's $800 doctor bill, come back in 6 weeks for more tests, not even hearing any. And sometimes as going into a doctor, we don't even know how to express those things. We don't know even that they're related. So that's why with thyroid yoga, it's become my mission to hear the women, and they come to me with these different challenges and just listening, without always giving advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
That's sometimes the most precious part of what I do, is just hearing it with compassion and love, because some of the challenges, they're so global and so collective. And it's like, I just want you all to know that you're listening, that you're not alone in whatever it is. And it's so collective and it's so challenging sometimes to be a human on earth. And you're not alone in this. There's someone that can listen to you and that wants to listen to you. And and to take your power back, to be heard, because that's a big thing. Just claim your power back. You're meant to be heard and you're meant to be understood. So, yeah.
Wow. I am just so in awe with this. And so I want to know, like, for who, like, can you share more on this? So you're rebranding it, you're relaunching it. Is this groups? Is it privates, one-on-ones? Like, can you explain more about the program itself if you want to share about it here?
Absolutely. So mainly what I'm doing now is group online series of classes. So I'm just starting now and you can join anytime because it's going to be a rolling opportunity. You can watch the replays. It's 8 weeks to get really connected to your navel center, your digestive system, your core, your metabolism, because that's going to immediately, when that is engaged and you really focus on that area, the thyroid's going balanced. So it's like this, okay, turn on. So that's one of the newest things I'm creating in the rebrand. It's actually live today. I just added it to the page so people can, yeah, people can go if they're interested to in it. What the really beautiful thing is that it helps you feel great in your body, and it goes so far beyond weight loss. The weight loss and just toning and that physical sense really is going to be a beautiful result, and it just goes so much deeper than that. It's feeling so good. When I did my practice today, I was like, I'm a radiant fucking queen. And yeah.
Fuck yeah,
And
you are.
I just want people to feel that and feel it and have empowerment to do it and to do it on your own and to know the practices and really create that sovereignty that you are your own healer. You can do this. And so that's one thing that I'm offering, and that's live now. I'm sure we'll give you all the links after. It's thyroid.yoga for anyone who's interested in learning all about this beautiful practice and way of life. And the other things are retreats here in Costa Rica. I specialize in cleansing and vocal activation and breath work. Obviously, thyroid yoga is a component of it, and other modalities too that are just so fun for me. There's so many things I could share, like qigong and rebirthing breath work and water breath work. So there's so many cool things, and I am so happy to be here in Costa Rica where I get to bring people to enjoy this life. And yeah, Costa Rica is special.
So magic. It's the most magical place on earth. Honest
Mm,
opinion here.
yeah.
Mm, thank you for all of this. And yes, I will put everything in the show notes so people can find the exact link, website, all the details. And before we close, is there just, I know you are so connected, is there any last message that you are feeling that wants to come through for the audience?
Mm. So many things.
Take the floor, take the space.
One beautiful reminder is to declare to yourself how special and worthy you are of feeling so radiant, so fucking radiant. Say that on here. That that your life is precious, and it's time to really feel that embodiment, to wake up and feel that embodiment. So to claim your power back, claim your power back, engage that navel center, do the work, go through those challenging times of doing something that may feel a little bit like, oof, my body is just coming out of a cocoon right now and it can feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like, go into that and claim your power back and go into those places that need your love, that need your attention, and know that you're in a sangha, you're in a community, and we're doing it too, right there with you. So if that empowers you, if that excites you, please reach out. I'm super, super excited to share all the knowledge, all the wisdom, and also learn the wisdom from, each person that comes to me. I'm like, wow, I'm soaking up so much and getting even more deeper into the human experience through each person that I meet. So that's what I'm leaving you with, is that, yes, you have all the power inside of you. Just need to remember it. Mm.
So beautiful. So, so amazing. Thank you so much for coming on today, Fern. I love you so much.
I love you so much. This has been magical. I mean, wow. We could talk for ages.
I know we're so overdue for our in-person hang. So overdue.
See you next week.
I know it's time. Our chapter's coming again.
I know.
So thank you so much. And thank you to each of you listening, tuning in. I know that if you've made it this far, let's be real, you loved it. You loved it. Go ahead and send this episode to those that you know would love it, would need this medicine, especially anyone you know dealing with thyroid or autoimmune or that you just intuitively feel. So, thank you again to each of you for being here. And until next time, Shakti Unleashed out.